My fiancé suggested an open relationship, but only for her. So I followed the rules, and now she's begging me to stop. I should have known something was off when Rachel started talking about relationships evolving. At first it was subtle, little comments about how people change over time, how modern relationships aren't meant to be so rigid, how we should never stop growing as individuals. I thought she was just being philosophical. Turns out, she was laying the groundwork. One night, over dinner, she finally dropped it. "I've been thinking," she started, twirling her fork in her pasta. "Maybe we should try an open relationship." I almost laughed, waiting for her to say she was joking. But she wasn't. She was dead serious. I set my drink down. "An open relationship?" Rachel nodded, like this was some deep, enlightened conversation and not, the dumbest thing I'd heard all week. "I just feel like we've been together for so long, and I love you, but I also think we should be open to new experiences before we settle down completely." There it was. Before we settle down, the unspoken, "I want to try other people, but I still want you waiting here for me when I'm done." I leaned back in my chair, watching her carefully. "So, you're saying you want to sleep with other people?" Rachel sighed, like I was being immature. "It's not just about sex. It's about growth. Freedom. I don't want us to feel trapped. You get what I mean, right?" "Oh, I got it." Loud and clear. Rachel wasn't interested in growth. She was interested in someone else. And she was setting up rules to keep me from interfering. I stayed quiet, waiting, and just like I expected, she kept going. She had already thought this through. She wasn't just asking, she was convincing. "Listen, I know this might be weird at first," she continued, reaching for my hand. "But I know you. You're not the type to, go around chasing random girls. That's not really you." Ah, there it was, the first trap. "Not really me?" I repeated, raising an eyebrow. She gave me a soft, knowing smile. "You're just so loyal and emotionally mature. You wouldn't want meaningless flings. You're not like other guys who just act on impulse." Translation: you're the safe, stable option. So be a good boy and wait while I go have my fun. I felt my jaw tighten, but she wasn't done. "Besides," she added casually, "it's different for men and women. Women are more selective, our connections are deeper. If I ever explored something, it would be meaningful. But for you, I just don't think you'd even want that." That was the second trap. She was trying to box me in. If I said no, she'd frame me as insecure. If I said yes, she'd act like I was betraying her. Either way, she got what she wanted. I took a slow breath, keeping my expression neutral. "So, you want to see other people because you feel like you're missing out, but you don't think I would feel the same way?" Rachel smiled again, like she had just won the argument. "Exactly. I know you, babe. No, you think you know me, but I just figured you out. I should have felt betrayed or angry, but honestly, I felt calm because I saw through every word. Rachel didn't actually want an open relationship. She wanted a free pass to cheat while keeping me as her safety net. She had already picked someone out. She had already planned how to justify it. And the best part? She had already convinced herself I wouldn't do anything about it. I could see it in her face, the satisfaction, the certainty. She thought I'd sit back like a loyal little placeholder while she went and explored. That's when I made my decision. I was going to give her exactly what she asked for, and she was going to regret every second of it. I didn't agree right away. If I had, Rachel would have gotten suspicious. She expected some pushback, some hurt feelings, some confusion. She had already planned how to guilt trip me into accepting it. So I played the part. I leaned back in my chair, furrowing my brow like I was processing it all. Then, after a few moments, I let out a slow breath. "I don't know, Rach. This just doesn't feel right." She softened, reaching across the table to hold my hand. "I get that, babe. I really do, but I think this is what's best for us, for me." There it was again. For me. I made sure to look unsure, hesitant. I let her talk, let her go on about how monogamy was outdated, how we should trust each other, how she wasn't looking to replace me, just expand her experiences. She was so sure of herself, so sure I would bend to her rules. And that's exactly why she never noticed when I started digging. Over the next few days, I kept up my act. I wasn't angry, I wasn't bitter. I was just thinking about it. Rachel, in return, was patient, at least outwardly. But I could see the cracks in her performance, how she was checking her phone more often, texting more at night, stepping out of the room to take calls. She was waiting for me to give in, waiting for her new guy to slide into place. And sure enough, I didn't have to dig far. A few nights later, Rachel fell asleep early on the couch. Her phone was next to her, screen up, unlocked. I glanced at it. Just one look, and that's when I saw his name. Trevor. I recognized it instantly. Trevor was an old friend of hers from college, the guy she always swore was just a friend. The guy she reconnected with last month when she started talking about growing as individuals. The guy who had sent her a very interesting text. Can't wait to finally have you the way I always wanted. It's going to be so much better now that he knows. Better now that I know. My stomach tightened, but I didn't react. Because in that moment, everything made sense. Rachel had never wanted an open relationship. She had wanted me to accept her cheating as normal, and she thought she had me right where she wanted. She had no idea what was coming next. The next day I sat Rachel down. I sighed, rubbed my temples, played the reluctant boyfriend. Then I finally said it. Okay, I'll try it. Her eyes lit up. She tried to hide it, but I could see the thrill, the sheer relief that I had finally caved. She kissed me, gushing about how mature I was being, how this would make us even stronger. She went on and on about boundaries, honesty, rules. It was all bullshit. Because that night, she left to grab drinks with some friends, but I knew exactly who she was seeing. And the best part? She thought I was sitting at home, loyal and waiting. That's when I made my move. I didn't just go after any random woman. That would have been too easy. I went for her best friend, Emily. Now, Emily and I had never been close. She was always more Rachel's friend than mine. But here's the thing. Emily hated cheaters. And she had always suspected Rachel was up to something. So when I texted Emily and asked if she wanted to grab a drink and talk about something important, she was intrigued. One drink turned into 2, then 3. I didn't even have to try. Emily had always seen Rachel as selfish and manipulative. So when I finally told her what was going on, about the open relationship Rachel had engineered to justify cheating, she was furious. And then she surprised me. She leaned in and said, "You know, I've always wondered what it would be like to date someone who actually respects people." I smiled. "Well, lucky for you, I'm single now." She laughed. And that's when I knew. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. I was going to enjoy this. A few nights later, Rachel came home late, smiling, relaxed. She kissed me on the cheek and asked, "How was your night?" I smirked. "Oh, it was great." Then just as she was about to walk into the bedroom, I casually added, "Emily says hi." She froze, turned slowly. "What?" I shrugged, playing it cool. "Yeah, I was out with Emily tonight. We talked a lot, got some drinks, had a great time." Rachel's face fell. I could practically see the gears turning in her head. This wasn't part of the plan. I wasn't supposed to actually do anything. I was supposed to sit and wait while she explored. And now, her best friend had just become her biggest nightmare. Rachel knew something was wrong. Ever since I mentioned Emily's name that night, she had been watching me. Her confidence wasn't as effortless anymore. She started asking more questions, casually trying to figure out if I was actually seeing someone or just trying to get under her skin. But she never outright confronted me, because in her mind, I was still her safety net. She had Trevor. She had her little side fling. She thought she had control. That is, until Emily made it public. It was a Saturday night and I was out with Emily. Nothing crazy, just dinner, a few drinks, some laughs, but Emily had a plan. As we were sitting there, she smirked and pulled out her phone. "Want to ruin Rachel's night?" I raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." She grinned. Then she took a selfie of us, leaning close, smiling, drinks in hand, and then she posted it. Caption, "When your best friend fumbles a good one and you don't mind catching him instead." I almost choked on my drink. "Emily," I laughed, shaking my head, "you are evil." She just sipped her cocktail. "Oh babe, you haven't seen evil yet." Rachel saw it immediately. How do I know? Because not even 15 minutes later, my phone started blowing up. At first, it was just passive-aggressive texts. "Really? Wow. Didn't think you'd stoop this low. So you were just waiting to sleep with my best friend? Unbelievable." Then, when I didn't reply, she started calling. I ignored her. 5 minutes later, Emily's phone lit up. "Rachel," Emily grinned. "Want to answer?" I shook my head. "Let her simmer." And oh boy, did she simmer. Rachel couldn't handle the radio silence. So instead of waiting for a response, she showed up. We were still at the bar when I spotted her, storming through the entrance, eyes locked on me like a heat-seeking missile. People actually turned to look because she was fuming. She stomped right up to the table, ignoring Emily completely. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" she hissed, voice low but dripping with venom. I blinked, took a slow sip of my drink. "Having dinner." Her jaw clenched. "With her?" She gestured toward Emily like she was a piece of trash. Emily just smirked, completely unbothered. Rachel scoffed, voice rising. "Are you seriously sleeping with my best friend?" The bar had gone quiet. People were watching. Emily raised an eyebrow. "You mean the best friend you ignored for months while screwing Trevor?" Rachel flinched. That was the moment she realized she had no moral high ground, no sympathy to play for, no way to spin this. And worse, Emily wasn't even being petty. She was just better at this than Rachel was. Rachel's hands curled into fists. Her face was bright red, not just with anger but embarrassment, because this was never supposed to happen. I was supposed to be waiting for her. Instead, I had moved on, and with someone better. Rachel tried one last card. Her voice turned pleading. "OP, come on. We're engaged. We've been together for years. You're really throwing all of that away for this?" I leaned forward, smiled. "No, Rachel, you threw it away the moment you decided I wasn't enough." She opened her mouth, then closed it, because she knew. She had nothing left. She had gambled. She had bet that I would always be there, waiting, and she lost. Rachel stormed out, and I finished my drink, unbothered. Rachel thought that was the end of it, that she could just walk away, lick her wounds, and run back to Trevor, the guy she threw our relationship away for. But life had one last slap waiting for her. A few days later, Emily and I were out grabbing coffee when she suddenly burst out laughing. I raised an eyebrow. "What?" She turned her phone screen toward me. It was a text from a mutual friend. Rachel and Trevor broke up. Apparently, Trevor found out about her meltdown at the bar. Someone had filmed it, her storming in, screaming at me, making a fool of herself. Trevor was not impressed. Turns out he actually thought Rachel's open relationship was real. That she and I had both agreed on it in a mature, mutual way. When he saw the video, he realized she was never polyamorous or exploring or whatever excuse she fed him. She was just a liar. And Trevor, he didn't like being used. So, he dumped her. Over text. Poetic. A few nights later, Ray tried one last time to get some semblance of power back. She texted me, "I hope you're happy." I stared at it for a second, then typed back, "I am. Thanks for asking." Blocked. And just like that, Rachel was gone for good. Emily smirked at me as I put my phone down. Well, that was satisfying. I grinned. Yeah, it was. I never expected to end up with Emily. But as we sat there, talking, laughing, actually enjoying each other's company, I realized something. I wasn't just getting revenge. I was actually better off. Rachel thought she was making a power move by forcing me into an open relationship. She thought she could have it all. Me as her backup, Trevor as her fun on the side. Instead, she ended up alone, and I walked away with something better.